did in Florida. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The hurricane's blamed for at least 17 deaths. This man's lucky he's not among them. He rode out the storm in his mobile home.
Only thing I got left in my life. If it was going to go, I was going to go too. Matter of fact, during the storm, I thought about that. That I made a bad decision.
Fox's Steve Harrigan is out surveying damage in Tampa.
You have pile after pile of debris in front of these houses. This was somebody's couch in front of me. And it's really a mix of debris from both storms, from 2 weeks ago from Helene, and now you have debris added to that.
Storm surge also caused flooding, and so did Milton's heavy rain, swelling rivers, leading to
heroic water rescues by first responders. Governor DeSantis saying as many as 1,000 rescues by first responders and National Guard.
There are still almost 2.5 million power outages. Israel and Hezbollah keep battling. An airstrike in Beirut, Lebanon, targeting militants has killed at least 22 people. And as Hezbollah launches rockets, it's also fired an anti-tank missile across the border today, killing a farmer from Thailand in northern Israel. And as war rages there and in Gaza, the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded this morning to survivors of the U.S. atomic bombings in Japan that ended World War II.
Nihon Hidankyo is known for its activism against nuclear weapons. Its members have lived through the 1945 nuclear attacks and have dedicated their lives to telling their stories of loss and injury.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Former President Trump will campaign in Colorado and Nevada the day after saying in Detroit he plans to boost the U.S. auto industry and keep cars made in China out.
I will impose whatever tariffs are required, 100%, 200%. 1,000%. They're not going to sell any cars into the United States.
Now, Vice President Harris touted her economic agenda in Arizona and then at a Univision rally in Nevada.
One of the issues I'm going to be taking on is price gouging.
Former President Obama campaigned for her at an anti-Trump rally in Pennsylvania. America's listening to Fox News.
During Cybersecurity Awareness Month, LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity. Using multi-factor authentication can be a line of defense to help protect your personal information. But LifeLock offers comprehensive protection against identity theft. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information, but also fixes issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use my name Clay as the promo code. Terms apply.
Sweet chocolate reward. Sweet chocolate reward.
This is not just the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat at Walgreens. This is the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat right after receiving all their vaccines in one trip. This is the sound of treating yourself, because you protected yourself.
Stop by or schedule both your flu and COVID-19 vaccines today and grab yourself a sweet treat while you're at it. Vaccines subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Hurricane Milton's damage in Florida comes 2 weeks after Helene did damage there and all the way up to North Carolina. In Georgia, considered a battleground toss-up state in the presidential election, there was an attempt to extend voter registration because of the storm shot down in federal court.
U.S. District Judge Eleanor Ross ruled against a lawsuit filed by several organizations, including the NAACP, who argued that Hurricane Helene kept some Georgia residents from registering. The deadline was Monday the 7th. The plaintiffs sought an extension until Monday the 14th. Judge Ross originally said there was not enough evidence to show citizens were harmed by the disruption. The judge's decision was supported by Georgia state and Republican Party officials, who said reopening registration was unnecessary. The Georgia Secretary of State website shows there are 8.2 million registered voters, but no breakdown by party. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
2 people are dead in Deer Park, Texas, after a chemical leak at an oil refinery.
To be honest, it's scary because since we work around the whole plants and everything, anything could really go off. So it's pretty scary.
He was okay. 35 others at the refinery were injured. A shelter-in-place order for residents been lifted. They're told they might smell something, but there's no hazard in the air. One person was killed at a former gold mine-turned-tourist site in Colorado in an elevator malfunction that left 12 other people trapped about 1,000 feet underground for hours until the elevator was fixed and they could be brought back up. On Wall Street, stock futures down modestly before today's trading. In the baseball playoffs, the Guardians stay alive.
And Fry in the air, deep left field.
David Fry homered and then drove in another run later, leading Cleveland past the Detroit Tigers 5-4 on TNT, forcing a Game 5 finale of that series. The winner will play the New York Yankees in the American League Championship Series. They eliminated the Royals in Kansas City 3-1. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Here's a look at local news. Well, jury selection continues in the racketeering trial of former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. 3 jurors were chosen yesterday, including 2 men and 1 woman. Madigan and longtime confidant Michael McLean face charges accusing them of conspiring to participate in an array of bribery and extortion schemes. Regulatory judges and the Citizens Utility Board fighting for a lower rate hike for Illinois Aqua as the water company tries to raise its rates. Aqua serves about 273,000 customers in central and northern Illinois, and in January, they filed a rate hike request with the Illinois Commerce Commission. The proposed hike would have created an increase of $30 a month. State education leaders flagging a recent survey showing more teachers considering leaving their jobs in classrooms. Illinois Education Association released the results to a membership poll Wednesday. From surveying 500 active members of the association in June, 59% of teachers considered leaving the industry. Get locally up to date from the Stevie Jay Broadcasting Newsroom. I'm Jim Miller.
Well, happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah, Friday.
It's what we say, Mr. Solier. Friday.
Yes.
There we go. We got a big football weekend that you have figured out how to give me the forecast we need. And then I've got a jacket I'm planning to wear Monday. So meteorologist Greg Solier has got her all laid out for us. And, of course, I'm so excited. I just got a clip from Brett Bielema, our head football coach.
Yeah. Huh?
Somebody said, what about a sellout against Michigan? And he said, I appreciate the question, but I'm hoping we're to sell out for Purdue because Purdue's first.
Yes.
We got Purdue.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what we needed to have.
Mm-hmm.
I just needed to be listen, are you still there, Greg? Weird little transition. I don't know what happened. You there, Greg? Where'd he go? Little click, you hear that? Anyway, so anyways, the focus is all on the fact that they don't have that silly cannon. Who cares? But we do want it. Cannon.
That's right.
Yeah, I hope.
The battle for the cannon, which has it been 2010?
Yeah, 2010. We've beaten the Boilermakers 2 times in Champaign since the turn of the century. Since we were talking about Y2K, okay?
My goodness.
Y2K. That's so yesterday. Bill Clinton was like president or something.
Wow.
Anyway, so yeah, you there? No, he went. Something happened to the connection. Anyway, so it's a beautiful, beautiful, idyllic weather forecast that he has produced for us, ladies and gentlemen. Our forecast this morning with meteorologist Greg Solier, brought to you by Carl.
And Carl reminds you, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In fact, our friend Tony Hooker, who had a 60th birthday yesterday, has this event coming up for the American Cancer Society and Carl's Mills Breast Cancer Institute from 1 to 4 at Wayside Route 45. That's happening on Sunday from 1 to 4. Blues, Beards, and Beer. Candy Foster even playing.
Sunday afternoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1 to 4.
Okay, I don't know what to say, except I had the long sleeve orange planned. I've just canceled that.
It's 52 now. And
we got 48 overnight.
Right.
It was in the 40s. And
in fact, did you see the Northern Lights? People were putting social media pictures.
Brother Greg sent one near the water tower in Philo, and it was the Northern Lights.
I missed it, darn it. And I'm into that sort of thing.
Well, I know you are. So today's high going to be 82, but tomorrow's 84.
Yes, that's right. We'll have morning clouds and afternoon sunshine. Should be great for that 2:30 kickoff. And Sunday's high 74 down to 43 with mostly sunny conditions. On Sunday afternoon, I'll be involved with the NAMI Champagne Walk that's happening at Crystal Lake Park in Urbana, and that steps off at 5 from the pavilion.
And I'm allowed to look to the weather for humans a week from Saturday, but not the game.
Right.
Weather
one thing at a time.
It's a week from Saturday's calling for 75. Sunny. Man. That's going to be a monster day. But the monster day is tomorrow, my friends. It's tomorrow when we play Purdue. I don't know. Something on X last night talked about the Purdue quarterback maybe not playing. I don't know. I don't care.
What?
Because the next guy's like a Heisman Trophy winner, I heard.
Gotcha.
Whatever it is, just beat Purdue. The line went up. We're 21-point favorites, which for a team that has our number sounds like a lot. It probably is, but don't care.
And we have some local homecomings. SJO and Unity are doing their homecoming celebration, so that involves parades this afternoon. For Unity, it's at noon in Tolono, and St. Joe's is at 4 this afternoon.
Yeah. Okay, so we got Brother Johnny coming up today. It's Friday. We're going to talk to a smart doctor today.
Yes, Dr. Ahmad from OSF Healthcare.
I like talking to doctors.
Me too.
They got a lot of knowledge. Mm-hmm. They've read more books and things.
And always concerned about our health and getting some improvements done.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Also today, you're always welcome to text in the Fisher National Bank text line. We got quite a few texts yesterday when I was telling John Decker, our ace journalist friend from Gray Television, White House correspondent, that Leslie Stahl and the apology that never came, and Donald Trump bailing on 60 Minutes. It was, the more I think about it, the two versions of Bill Whitaker asking Kamala Harris a question that was word salad, and the way 60 Minutes cleaned it up and ran a nice response.
Yeah.
But they had to edit it.
Right.
And there's no explanation as to why they had to edit it.
Right.
So it doesn't seem like the journalistic thing to do.
Right.
When you interview somebody and you're not biased at all, you want to just simply say, here's what they said. I mean, they certainly would do that for Donald Trump.
That's right.
He got confused with the words, and then they'd play it. Mm-hmm. What they didn't anyway. So that was weird. But this whole 60 Minutes thing. So Leslie Stahl last year presumably said to Donald Trump, we're not going to cover the laptop, can't verify it, discredit it, whatever they were talking about. And so Bill, who's the guy that came out 60 Minutes, senior guy who says, she never said it. Well, then I went looking because I swear I had heard it, and I couldn't find it.
Right.
I could not find Leslie Stahl talking to Donald Trump about the laptop that ended up to be absolutely real. And 51 security people lost their credibility when they all said, well, that was just Russian interference and it's fake.
Right.
It wasn't fake. It was real. And so he said, she was so, contentious about it. She owes me an apology because I was right. Of course, that's not coming.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I finally found it on X. And I'll play it here with Johnny coming at the bottom of the hour if you can hang around. I'll play exactly what the conversation sounded like. And she, in fact, did say the laptop and other things can't be verified and has been discredited. And they didn't pursue it. He said, you ought to pursue when somebody's getting paid $3 million from Moscow's, Vladimir Putin's wife and getting $180,000 a month and has no clue of what energy is, but he's on the board. Maybe you ought to look into that, which I think is kind of fair. If you have the president's son,
true,
and there's all kinds of things going on, and there's other reports of the big man getting 10%. I mean, I think that's a story, but no, it's not. Now being pursued. I also have kind of a synopsis of the New York Appellate Court listening to why Donald Trump was brought up on fraud charges and prosecuted and convicted of 34 counts. Remember all that?
Right.
The Appellate Court, and they got to be all Democrats. It's New York. And they're all scratching their heads saying, why'd you bring this? Can you cite one other example of a guy that is accused of being fraudulent when the bank that he borrowed the money from comes in and says he paid it all with interest? Just show me another case where that was prosecuted. The bank said, no, he paid it all back with it. That's what he's talking about, this whole lawfare. There's just too many things like that. You're going, it's not fair. And he's sitting there in court. How many millions were spent on that case? And it's a non-case, and the appellate court's going to show. And I think a lot of this is going to end up this way, but I haven't heard any coverage of it.
Right, and you're finding things on Twitter or X.
X is the only avenue where you're going to be able to actually see things, and then what you do is you listen to it, and you don't necessarily take it for the truth. You have to back that up. You have to find other information. But certainly it's a starting point to say that's not true. But when the person says it, and it's out of their mouth, that you won't find anywhere else. It's off YouTube. You can't find stuff. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to find information that might be detrimental.
That's scary.
It's the wrong direction.
Right. We want to be able to see everything and be well informed.
Well, when you have more and more people, and I hesitantly call them Democrats. I really do. It's a progressive movement. It is far left liberal. And you can say far right, Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's fine. But I'm talking about the one that wants to limit your speech. That is a bad thing. Because if you say stuff and it's hateful, who said that?
Right. And you want to prove it, and you want to verify.
You know what will happen? People will start calling authorities. Your neighbors will heard you said something at your grill, barbecue grill, and they're going to say, he said that was so offensive. Mm-hmm. You want that? No, we don't. 7:15. Let's check sports headlines.
We talked about number 23 Illinois facing Purdue at 2:30 for the kick tomorrow, and it looks like the weather's going to cooperate. Things are looking good in this battle for the Cannon. Let's see. We've got Northwestern at Maryland tonight if you want to watch some Big Ten football action. Illinois volleyball hits the road for a pair of Big Ten matches. Fighting Illini battle Michigan tonight at 6, and then the squad will face off against Michigan State on Saturday at 3. So go Illini. Let's see. It looks like the New York Yankees are in.
Yep.
And the Cleveland Guardians beat the Detroit Tigers 5-4.
It goes to Game 5 Saturday.
Right.
Dodgers and Padres play Game 5. That means
that's tied up at 2 apiece.
Yep.
That game's tonight. San Diego's at L.A., and then the winner will face the New York Mets.
I don't think anybody wants to face the New York Mets. I really don't. I think they're the designated Arizona Diamondbacks from a year ago that got hot and made it all the way to the World Series. So we'll see. Here's Brett Bielema being asked about that sellout against Michigan coming up.
No, it's not until next weekend, but to have a second sellout after not having one for several years, what does that say about the program, but also this fan base?
I appreciate the question, but if we want to sell out Saturday this week, that's what I'd like to have. We'll worry about next week when next week gets here, but it really became apparent to me during the bye week. We're traveling across the country. I'm with a couple of my coaches, and just the way people, like sometimes people would see that we're at Illinois football, but they didn't necessarily know who the hell I was, and they would grab you and talk about the program and what they saw and the games they watched. So exposure is a great thing, right? I mean, listen, I love doing media, but the reason coaches do media is to give exposure for their program. That's what the name of the game is in this NIL world and in recruiting and all the things that matter. The more exposure you have, the better things are. And to showcase Memorial Stadium this weekend as well as next. We got 3 games out of the next 4 are here at home. That's a big deal.
Yeah, and they also talked about the cannon. He said you can't feel it, touch it, smell it, hold it. It doesn't matter. That we want it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to be okay. Feeling better about tomorrow. I think we're going to be able to run the football, and if we can run the football, we're going to be able to pass the football. And, yeah, we're better than Purdue. They're really struggling. We just have to keep them struggling. We just have to assert the authority and do not allow Purdue to think they're in a football game. You don't need that. We want to be up 21-0 before I have to get up.
I mean, and not let up.
Don't let up. No, 52-6 is fine.
Right.
We kind of owe them quite a bit. They took me out of the Big Ten championship game 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That Devin Weatherspoon pass interference that wasn't. I know it's just an excuse. But it was a really bad call in a really important game.
Illinois soccer narrowly dropping a home contest against USC, number 19. 3-2 was the final. Next up will be UCLA, and that'll be on Sunday at 1.
Okay, it's Friday morning, October 11. Halloween is a few weeks away.
Crazy.
Seeing big old bags of candy I got to think about.
I know.
But when you do that, all you're doing is how much am I going to consume?
Exactly.
Right? You got to test it.
You're getting your favorite.
You have to test it.
Mm-hmm.
Weather brought to you this morning by Kramer Siding and Window.
Your premier provider for home improvement, specializing in siding, windows, doors, roofing, outdoor living. Visit KramerSiding.com.
All right, Fox Business Minute will be coming up. Brother Johnny, bottom of the hour, 7:19.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois, Champaign and vicinity, and it's a spell of late summer-like warmth across the area for the next couple of days. The first of a couple of cold fronts expected to come our way late to tomorrow night, and another one due in Sunday night. It'll bring about a little more November feel around here briefly, though, into early next week with some areas of frost and a brief light freeze. Another big warm-up slated around here for the middle and more likely late portions of next week, and there may be some wetter days ahead as we round the corner here in the waning days of October. Sunshine and 82 this afternoon, light south to southwesterly wind. Tonight fair, not as cool. 55 tomorrow, partly sunny. Could be a sprinkle before the ball game. After the ball game, kickoff temperature around 84 on a bit of a south-southwesterly breeze. Down to 57, a stray shower chance tomorrow night. Mostly sunny, breezy, cooler for the day on Sunday up to 73. A couple of sprinkles Monday afternoon, partly sunny, only 59 there. Mid to upper 50s for Monday and Tuesday. Back to the 60s Thursday, 70s Friday. For Stevie Jay Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solgay.
Since Busey Bank first opened our doors in 1868, we have built upon a tradition of close relationships and broad financial capabilities. Our experienced team provides the highest level of personalized service to ensure we accomplish your goals, simplifying your wealth management and business lending needs and ensuring a legacy for generations. Building business, growing wealth since 1868. proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
JP Morgan's earnings and revenue topped expectations. The big bank says while inflation is slowing, the U.S. economy remains resilient. Several critical issues remain. The stock's up 2%. Wells Fargo's quarter was mixed. It's lowering expectations for the year. Its profit was better than expected, but it was down 11%. Banks are making less from interest now that the Federal Reserve has lowered rates. Wells Fargo shares are up 2.5%. Nippon Steel is working on concessions it hopes will sway regulators to approve its merger with U.S. Steel. Nippon will sell its stake in Calvert JV to Europe-based steel giant ArcelorMittal. Its plant in Alabama produces steel sheets used in cars, appliances, and for other uses. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jen Posola. Invested in you.
The world of business moves fast. Stay on top of it with the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday. Fox Business reporters, anchors, and hosts will bring you beneath the stock market speculation and boardroom drama to tell you about the biggest business stories of today. Whether you're on Main Street or Wall Street, Fox Business is invested in you.
Listen to the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday at foxbusinesspodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Very happy and honored to have Dr. Abraham Kocherl, cardiac electrophysiology, OSF, Heart of Mary in Urbana. What is AFib?
Yeah, so atrial fibrillation is a heart rhythm disorder, and it's actually the most common heart rhythm disorder that needs treatment. So about 6 million Americans have it currently, and it's expected to increase to about 15 million by 2050. So it's a growing problem. There are lots of things that lead to atrial fibrillation, and this includes diseases like diabetes and hypertension, sleep apnea. Other factors that lead to it are an excessive alcohol and tobacco use, being overweight or obese, and being sedentary. Generally it's an older person's disease. Generally, if you have other heart conditions, it's worth looking for, so that there's a condition called heart failure, which commonly is associated with atrial fibrillation. So hopefully, if you have one of those conditions, those patients are being seen by a cardiologist, and that cardiologist is paying attention to the heart rhythm and keeping an eye on things to look for the development of atrial fibrillation.
To learn more, visit osfhealthcare.org. Pia's has Karaoke Fridays, the second and fourth Friday of the month after 9 p.m. Get into your weekend with $5 Crown Royal drinks plus $4 Fireball Friday shots. Tequila Tuesdays go south of the border with drink specials. And from 11 to 2, get lunch with a big taco for only $2.75. Wednesdays are wild with mason jar drinks, and it's country night. Happy Thursday with $5 Jack drinks and $4 Happy Dad and Happy Thursday seltzers. Every day is a good day at Pia's.
Want unbeatable prices on your next furniture purchase, but also seeking that local hometown feel? Look no further than Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola. Customers rave about their friendly, established staff, as well as their great selection, amazing prices, and second-to-none delivery service. They're a third-generation local business, and they've always got your best interests at heart. Find the look you love for less. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday, but always available online at kelseyfurniture.com. That's kelseyfurniture.com.
You've changed thousands of diapers, played hours of peekaboo and duck, duck, goose because you do anything for your kids. That's why it's so important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow will help make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow in Champaign-Urbana today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Yeah, so I guess there were Northern Lights and Philo. Is that right?
Well, everywhere.
No, it's Philo first. That's what I heard.
Of course.
That's what I heard.
It's the center of the universe.
Listen, it's up there. I don't know what to tell you. But I think those are northern lights. This is from my brother Greg.
I was seeing some social media pictures. Yes. I mean, it's
Yeah.
glowing.
And this is by the Philo Water Tower.
It's kind of purplish, lavender.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
I should have paid more attention in science class.
Well, we both took a weather class when we were at EIU back in the day. They
Yeah.
probably went over it there, too. I don't know.
Well, mine was 8 a.m. What time was yours?
Same.
Okay. Well, that's ridiculous.
And it was like the last semester, and it was like, uh-oh, in order to graduate early, Diane, you need a science class. And I'm like, well, let me do weather because, maybe I'll need that if I'm
There you
focusing
go.
on broadcasting.
Yeah.
Maybe I can be a weather girl. I know.
It was my last semester too. Why did we take such a hard class our last semester? Because it was hard.
Exactly.
In fact, I was just an okay student, mainly because I was very social.
Yes.
I could greet and meet.
Right.
So I had a number of C's my freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
I ended with a B average, but my last semester in college was 5 A's and 1 B.
Okay.
And the 1 B was weather climate.
Right.
Dang it.
And see, for me, one of the keys to my success was finding somebody I sat next to who appeared to be smart or whatever, and getting to know them, and then studying with them the day before the test and talking through things. I'm more of an auditory learner.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of, reading and taking a lot of notes, I would mainly just talk it through with the smart people. And then if we thought we were good, we'd go over to Marty's. With the panther there in front of the
What was the
bar
number one
there.
thing Stevie J ate at Marty's? French fries.
Okay.
Did you ever have their French fries?
No,
Oh,
I don't
man.
remember. It was mainly beverages.
No, I never had one there, I don't think.
Okay.
Maybe.
I know
Back in the day.
you were more, and you drink milk at Katsina's, I remember.
That was
You
after, I sampled as a teenager and then quit forever.
Yes.
Not because I had I just didn't like it.
Right.
I didn't think it was much fun.
My husband, the same way.
Okay.
It's really not good for you.
Well, that's right,
to
Mike.
overindulge.
It's not. I mean, if people want an occasional beer, God bless you.
Right.
Just don't drive or don't abuse.
On my first blind date with Mike, we were sitting at the Courier Cafe looking at the Rose Bowl across the street, and I was noticing people come in. So then I said, let's go to the Rose Bowl. And Mike lives like 4 blocks away in downtown Urbana area. And I'm like, surely you've been, to the office, Iron Pub. No, none of these. He's like, I've never been drunk, Diane. And I'm like, what?
Attaboy.
I've never heard anybody say that in my life. And anyway, so we went in there, and the guy was on the mic and said, Diane Ducey's in the house.
Uh-oh.
It was like Norm walking into
Yeah.
Cheers. I
Yeah.
was like, what? But it was a friend of mine, and I had sent him a song earlier in the day, so he played Eric Clapton for me, and Mike and I danced to that song. It was a wonderful first blind
I would
date.
say Mike Anderson has been very good for your life.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, try
a
and
catalyst, kind of just
settle everything down.
Exactly, picking up the pieces.
Just a smidge.
I mean, when we met on the first blind date, he helped me find my keys that I had lost. They were in my cup holder. Why did I put them there?
Hard to explain some things.
Exactly.
All right, it's Friday, 7:28. Brother Johnny next. I got a bunch of clips. Stand by. It's ESPN 93.5.
You have money laying all around your house. You just don't know it. And no, I don't mean selling your great-grandma's good china. I mean all the old metal items you don't want to use or get rid of. Don't pay someone to haul it away. Bring it into Max Twin City Recycling and get paid to have it taken off your hands. They love new customers and are more than willing to walk you through their process step by step. Come check them out at 2808 North Lincoln Avenue in Urbana.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
Urbana's Market at the Square has been cultivating a vibrant scene in CU since 1979. Get to know your farmers bringing locally harvested honey, crafts, jewelry, art, fresh cut flowers, plus produce including fresh leafy greens and root vegetables, fresh baked treats, and a wide selection of proteins. Going on now, every Saturday, 7 a.m. till noon, rain or shine at Illinois and Vine, it's Urbana Market at the Square. Find Urbana Market on Facebook or urbanamarket.org. Airlig Plumbing Solutions. For your kitchen and bath remodels, sump pumps, maintenance plans, and even licensed backflow testing, Airlig has you covered. Your local plumbing contractors for industrial, commercial, and residential jobs can provide plumbing services, repairs, and installs with a quick turnaround by calling or texting 217-722-9499. Send an email with your plumbing issue and contact information to info@airligplumbing.com.
Hey Illinois, get the ultimate winning combo with Circa Sports and Rosati's Pizza. Download and fund the Circa Sports Illinois app with just $20 and you'll score a free pizza. Bet big and taste the win with Circa Sports and Rosati's. It's sports betting the way it should be. Visit circasports.com/Rosati's. Must be 21 or older. Exclusions may apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. At least 17 people are killed, hundreds are rescued since Hurricane Milton hit Florida Wednesday night. Florida Division of Emergency Management Director Kevin Guthrie on Fox says more, especially older people, could die if they're not careful.
Do not go out and try to cut a tree off your house. Don't try to pick up the debris. We'll send you volunteer organizations to do that for free. We will not charge you. And we'll help you with that. And that will very much save a life.
There's still about 2.4 million power outages reported. The Nobel Peace Prize awarded to a group of Japanese atomic bomb survivors.
Nihon Hidankyo is known for its activism against nuclear weapons. Its members have lived through the 1945 nuclear attacks and have dedicated their lives to telling their stories of loss and injury. About 114,000 survivors of the bombings are still alive.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. The last Nobel Prize of the year for economics will be announced Monday. America's listening to Fox News.
Here's a look at local news. A Champaign man accused of making violent threats against a federal judge. Eric Renner threatened to kidnap, assault, and murder a federal judge from Florida's St. Lucie County. He's been charged with multiple counts of interstate transmission of threats, threatening to assault, kidnap, and murder a federal judge. Numerous Illinois state parks, state fish and wildlife areas, state conservation areas, and state recreation areas open to youth waterfowl hunting during this year's North Zone, Central Zone, and South Central Zone youth waterfowl hunts. At most sites, regulations that apply during the regular waterfowl hunting season apply during the youth hunt. State education leaders flagging a recent survey. It shows more teachers considering leaving their jobs. The Illinois Education Association released the results of a membership poll from Wednesday, saying 500 active members of the association in June. From surveying 500 active members, 59% of teachers, professors in higher education, and support staff have considered leaving the industry. You're locally up to date from the Stevie Jay Broadcasting Newsroom. I'm Jim Miller.
Do you need some extra cash?
Be a special census field representative and make $18.83 an hour. You'll be working a small area on campus and have some flexibility with this job.
A special census is coming to campus residents around the University of Illinois. Field representatives are needed through November with Urbana's partial special census.
Visit urbanaillinois.us/census jobs.
Make $18.83 an hour. Visit usajobs.gov/jobs and look for the city of Urbana.
Check your weather, brought to you this morning by the Urbana Park District.
They remind you they're working with Champaign on their Halloween Fun Fest at Marketplace Mall on October 23rd. I believe it's 4 to 7. I'm going to be part of the costume contest emceeing. Imagine that, Stevie.
I am so excited that I finally talked you into doing an event. Thank
Such
you.
a bashful gal.
Thank you.
In any case, urbanaparks.org for details.
Logan, everyone, let's check weather for East Central Illinois. Champaign and have a Saturday night spell of late summer-like weather ahead for the day-to-day, and tomorrow, too, the first of a couple of cold fronts on the move. One brings temperatures back down to more seasonal expectations for the day Sunday. A little more November feel expected into early next week, and some areas of frost and a brief light freeze. Very quickly, though, back in the other direction. Another big warm-up slated over the middle late parts of next week, and there may be some wetter days ahead as we move through the last week of the month of October. Sunny, warm for the day today. My favorite kind of forecast, up to 82 and a bit of a south-southwesterly wind. Ought to be a fine evening for Friday night high school football action. Lows tonight down to 55. Tomorrow, partly sunny and seasonably warm with a sprinkle before the ball game, maybe late in the ball game or after the ball game. 84 at kickoff time. Light south-southwesterly wind with 50s tomorrow night and a stray shower chance. Mostly sunny, breezy you cooler for the day on Sunday, up to about 73. We're stuck in the mid to upper 50s for highs. That's it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, overnight readings in the low to mid 30s. For Stevie Jay Broadcasting, I'm Beetlejuice, Greg Solgay.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, the hurricane could have been much worse. There are 17 now reported dead. I think Helene is over 230.
Right.
I guess, Johnny, you said we got to pray for Tampa, and lo and behold, the prayer worked because it missed a direct hit on a population 3.3 million. So, I mean, hard to say.
Unfortunately, it hit pretty hard a little south on smaller places, less people was the thing. But the main thing, Steve, the surge they thought just didn't happen. That 15 foot of water didn't quite materialize. Although flooding happened, it wasn't what they thought there either. So that was, thank you, Lord.
That's right.
My sister
question.
Mary Jean owns property in Venice, and a banyan tree, a huge banyan tree, fell on one of the houses.
Oh, no.
So, but that was the only thing. And she said the community is coming together, and they're getting the power back. They had shut the water off. They had a plan. They all these different flood zones and things like that. So she went to higher elevation and all these things. So it's amazing what people can do. And I feel like Governor DeSantis
he's all over it.
He had 37,000 linemen and, people ready.
50,000 linemen putting electricity back. Tampa Airport is open this morning. So is Disney World.
Right.
Good gosh.
So
I do think that DeSantis probably put a clinic on what you can do. It's a nature event, but boy, as far as top of the line, I give him an A+ for managing that.
Okay, Brother Johnny on the phone from New Orleans, ESPN 93.5. During a pre-campaign rally stop in Pittsburgh, former President Barack Obama appeared to admonish black Americans who have not been as fervent in their support for Vice President Kamala Harris in her bid for the White House. Obama stopped at the campaign office in Steel City before taking the stage. A prominent Democrat said he has noticed a difference in the excitement surrounding the current Democratic nominee. We have not yet seen the same kind of energy and turnout in all comers of our neighborhood. And now I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I got to speak to y'all and say that when you have a choice that is clean, when on one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, went to college with you, understands the struggles, and comes from your experiences. Anyway, that was Barack Obama. Tim Walz apparently alluded to the fact that it was Donald Trump's fault that Vice President Harris didn't get anything done.
I see.
And then yesterday at this time, I told John Decker that Donald Trump wasn't going to do 60 Minutes, and he knew that, but I said Leslie Stahl's apology because she, what's the other 60 Minutes head guy?
Was it Scott Pelley?
Scott Pelley. So Scott Pelley now is, I guess, considered prominent, and you can trust him. Leslie Stahl didn't say anything about the laptop. Well, I'm not sure that's true, and I could not find the clip. I searched for half an hour before I found it on X.
Right.
Without Elon Musk, I don't think anything negative would get out there. So here's how it went down so you can hear it.
This is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie.
You know what you told me a long time ago when I asked why you keep saying fake with the media?
Yeah.
You said to me, I say that because I need to discredit you so that when you say negative things about me, no one will believe
I don't have to discredit you.
But that's what you told me.
You've discredited yourself.
You told me that.
Leslie, you've discredited yourself. When you say that you're not going to cover Biden, you're going to ask him what flavor ice cream he has, okay?
That's not
Instead of why did Hunter get $3.5 million from Moscow? Instead of why is an energy company paying your son $183,000 a month or whatever they're paying him, and he has no experience in energy. You discredit yourself. I don't have to discredit.
So this story about Hunter, some repair shop found it. The source is Steve Bannon and Rudy Giuliani.
I don't know anything about that. I just know it's a laptop, and they haven't.
And you're making this one of the hottest, most important issues in the rallies.
It's a very important issue to find out whether or not a man's corrupt who's running for president, who's accepted money from China and from Ukraine and from Russia.
All these
Yeah, I think
things
that's
have
an
been
important issue.
investigated and
All these things have been investigated and discredited. And now, by the way, the sound changed because the Trump campaign was recording. Of course, CBS isn't going to air any of that. So it didn't make the TV.
That's good.
So
that's interesting.
But
little background.
I mean, listen, the fact is, it was real. And it was, 51 CIA people lost all credibility, including John Brennan and all these other characters. They came out immediately say it was disinformation and it was false when they didn't know at all about it. It is just but there you go with the Leslie Stahl. In fact, she did say everything had been checked into, discredited.
Well, and thank
not
you, Stevie
verified.
J, for the deep dive you had to just to get that clip.
It's hard to find the stuff, man. It is really hard. Now, here's another one, Johnny. This is the New York Appellate Court, which hears whether court cases go properly, right? There's 5 judges. I presume in New York, wouldn't they be all Democrat? They have to be.
Well, you heavily Democrat.
All right,
But
so
I don't know.
here's the guy. Elon Musk reposted this, but he said this is a good summation. This is the one where Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago's only worth $17 million. He frauded the bank. Defrauded the bank. So here's kind of a synopsis. I haven't heard this anywhere. I have not heard this on Fox. I haven't heard anywhere. And I have a feeling most of the Trump lawfare, if not all of it, will end up like this. But here's an explanation to catch you up.
So look, many people aren't aware that the Trump fraud case went before the appeals court this week. And if you don't know how an appeals court works, there are 5 judges that sit in judgment for these cases. And they basically let the prosecution and the defense both lay out their cases. And their job is to consider whether or not the case was worth hearing in the first place. And it went so badly for the Democrat lawyers that by the end of it, their closing arguments was just them begging to not get sanctioned. So they argued a ton of different things throughout this case. But the biggest thing was the judges kept interrupting them. They kept saying, hold on. Can you find me one other time in history where the person who took the loan was able to call the bank that they took the loan from, and then that bank showed up and said, we weren't defrauded? And the lawyers spent like 2 hours trying to find one little instance where it happened. But then the judges said, okay, let's try something else. They said, hey, have you ever prosecuted someone for lying about the value of a property when it resulted in the entire loan being paid back with interest? And again, they gave them like 2 hours to try to explain their case, and they still couldn't produce a single case where that had happened. And then the judges said, hey, you know what? We'll give you another shot. They said, have you ever seen an attorney general prosecute a case where there was no damage to the public, there was no damage to the person you said was defrauded, and there was no actual malice committed by the person who took the loan? And then they took another like 6 hours on that one. And by the end of it, the judges were like, so you don't have any instance of that happening? And then by the time they were done, the judges were like, I don't even know if this is a case that should have been brought. And they said, look, y'all might need to be sanctioned for bringing this case in a malicious manner.
I hadn't heard a thing about this, Johnny. Had you?
No, I haven't heard that. I mean, I knew about the case. It'd be like, I could borrow $300,000 against my home because I said it was worth $400,000, and after I borrowed it and paid the money back, someone said that house isn't worth $400,000. That's like $250,000, and then prosecute you for it. And the bank's going, well, we got the money back.
Right.
I mean, there was no problem, and actually, we thought it was worth more. Well, we don't think it's worth that much. That was the case.
I see.
Man. So I mean, I guess what it does, it gives me a little faith, regardless of party, that maybe we can survive some of this, huh?
Well, maybe, and I think that's, like you said, that's a fairly typical line of reasoning, which is get Trump, get Trump, get Trump.
Yeah.
That's their reasoning.
Yeah.
That's why they did it. There was nothing. What are you talking about precedent? We need to get him, and that's what they've been doing with all of this. And we don't want that. They'll do it to other people. They do it to people everywhere, and both sides do. Okay, but the Democrats really doubled down since their efforts to get Trump out or to defeat him, discourage him, to disparage him, to get voters to hate him. It's just not working, and so they're desperate. But it's terrible what they're doing. It's terrible what they're doing to him and to our system. I mean, I hope we can pull through. Steve, we got, 4 weeks?
Less than that.
All right.
26 days, something like that. European producer David Lesney has sent me the article. It's from Reuters. Appellate judges skeptical of New York City civil fraud case against... Reuters is pretty far left, too, so they've even covered this.
The jury trial wasn't a whole lot better.
That's the one where the judges say, find something of him guilty, you don't have to be unanimous. What?
Yeah, that's when the judge instruction to the jury just
Juan Marchand, Judge Juan Marchand. Yeah, that's the guy.
Well, and that was a kangaroo court type of thing.
Well, they got to say 34 federal. He's a felony. 34 counts. They got to say it at least during the campaign.
24 days until election
24
day.
days.
November 5th.
I'm voting early, Johnny. That's what I'm being told to do. So I'm voting early. Are you voting early?
Well, I'm going to vote. If I have a chance to run, vote early. Our precinct's right around the corner on the election day, and we're not exposed to some of the vulnerabilities that are requiring you to vote early because in some states where you can register all the way up to election day, your name can be put in the database twice, or someone can print your ballot out and vote for you. Very rare in Louisiana because there's not much early voting, very few mail-in ballots, no drop boxes, you have to register by a certain time to vote. So I'm not as worried about it, but that's one reason Republicans are being told to vote early, but also to make sure they vote. Because you can't forget to vote.
Well, Johnny, why is it like 40% of evangelicals don't vote? Would you please? I don't get this. I don't get all the Republicans is because there's no hope. We can't win. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, people get busy and they're thinking, my vote won't matter. Yeah. And when you add them all up, it matters. but I think more will vote this time. But they're being kind of prompted and recruited to vote. That's legal, campaigning for your side.
No, I think, but the message should be for sure you got to vote.
Well,
right?
And you mentioned evangelicals, Stevie, and there's a friend of mine that talks about Jewish people and how they support so many Democrats so often, but all the stuff that's happening in the world, why is that?
Anti-Semitic stuff and pro-Palestinian, and pro-Gaza.
And why vote Kamala when she's not on the Israel, she's not like taking a stand, she's not really... I don't get it.
She kind of took a stand when she just wouldn't go to see Netanyahu when he gave speech.
Exactly.
So, but I don't know that. That's look. People are all different, Steve.
Right.
The thing I'm all for as many people who want to vote. I wouldn't beat anyone up for not voting if they just don't want to vote. What I don't like is when a ballot shows up and nobody voted. And I think a lot of that goes on. I don't like being accused of destroying the democracy if you push back on some of the processes. Like, every precinct in Illinois can add a voter to the Illinois database for registered voters. And with mail-in ballots, that means a ballot with that person's name on it can show up in a box. Was it that person who voted? There's no real way to know, Steve. That's my point. And if everyone can input the person's name, then anybody else can too.
I'm told they compare signatures. So
there's no what's the signature have to do with it? If you're registering the same day, you might have to sign your registration form, but you're going to sign the vote.
Yeah, I got you. Mm-hmm. I see.
There's no signature verification that makes any difference. And the point is, here's the point. If you're inputting from the precincts, you can hack in and input a vote from anywhere, and you can just have extra ballots to deliver in unmonitored ballot drop box. It's totally open, and I do think both sides will be guilty of it because now some Republicans saying, "Well, okay, if that's what we got to do." People do anything. Mm-hmm. I always talk about sometimes when in this discussion, I'll remind people of of 3 or 4 things. Tanya Harding, Will Leah Thomas, Lance Armstrong, and the Houston Astros. People will do anything to get what they want, Steve. And it's a shame, but that's just the way it is. So if you drill 3, Diane, try this. Try drilling 3 6-inch holes in your house and see if any critters start to come in. If it's there, someone's going to go down. Some just to game the system, like a video game. Hey, watch this. I can get this. You have to have more security. And common sense. And to stand there and say you don't need an ID, you don't need a signature, print out the names of all the registered voters, of which 370 counties have more registered voters than the population, because they won't clean up the rolls, which gives you opportunity for more ballots that could be counted, and that's inexcusable. That's been my complaint for the last 30 years, and it's gotten worse. And I think, Steve, is the only chance Kamala has. And that's, we know Chicago's a little iffy, but look at Detroit and Philadelphia, which we saw in the last election. That's when those dumps. How about Fulton County, Georgia? I think that's a little better. I think Philadelphia actually is going to be a little better. I don't know about Detroit, but the people in Detroit might not vote for Kamala, so there does have to be a certain base of real votes. And so I'm all about how the process works and skeptical of it being cleaned up in an acceptable manner. We need to do better, and I'm not going to change that.
Brother Johnny, from New Orleans, we end with Kamala Harris, kind of a rewind from earlier this week on Stephen Colbert.
Polling shows that a lot of people, especially independent voters, really want this to be a change election, and that they tend to break for you in terms of thinking about change. You are a member of the President's administration. Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of... But also, I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump. And so when we think about the significance of what this next generation of leadership looks like, were I to be elected president, it is about... Frankly, I love the American people, and I believe in our country. I love that it is our character and nature to be an ambitious people. We have aspirations, we have dreams, we have incredible work ethic, and I just believe that we can create and build upon the success we've achieved in a way that we continue to grow opportunity. And
what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I did not even do that. Somebody copied me from about 3 weeks ago when I first started playing it. It's on X. Come on, man.
Well, that's great. I'll tell you now. See, I would have voted for that kind of a candidate. I'd have gone with Marianne Williamson.
There you go.
I like her better.
I like her.
Peace, and
I will defeat Trump with love. Let's go.
I can tell you something. I'm going to be positive. I'll be positive. Kamala Harris could be an excellent actress because with the teleprompter, she does extremely well.
Yeah.
But if you click it off, it's almost like a robot. The battery died. It's like she's got nothing. I don't know what to say. She really can't. I don't like that answer. What the answer was? How things be different? By the way, in case you forgot the question, because with her answer you would forget what the question was. But she's not very good at that, and it's not a real good trait for a leader to not be able to really respond in a constructive, efficient manner. How would you like to be asking her, can we deploy
Oh, boy.
Lineman for the Storm, and she says, I think the ambition of the people and the time, look at the time. And so what are you going to do with that? And I don't think she's cut out for president. She could be a great actress. She's a good actress, Steve. Yeah, you got to get
No,
her.
I think with the teleprompter, she is quite good. I really do.
No, she has lines. She's good. So, but we need a president who thinks on their feet and not quite something different for president. So, I don't know. Trump seems to be hanging in there. What do you think, Steve? What do you think, Diane? Who's going to win?
Oh, wow. I haven't been asked that. I mean, I feel like Trump, but I just don't know because there's so many people that just have their news on tiny little clips and they see something nice that Kamala Harris has said and they're going with that. They like that.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think it's not a slam dunk, but I think both sides are focused on really, 7 or 8 states, Steve? And there may be some flips outside of those usual swing states because the focus hasn't been on those states, and they're taken for granted. Let's say New Mexico. That's not, total solid blues. So stuff like that. But.
Well, lastly, one last thing, and I mean it this time, since you guys are talking, I found the clip where the teleprompter did go down.
Oh, yeah.
So stand by. This is what happens when the teleprompter, there's some laughing and some repeat verbiage, but the teleprompter goes down for Kamala Harris recently.
Remember his number? 32. Today we got 32 days until the election.
No more teleprompter.
So 32 days. 32 days.
No teleprompter.
Okay, we got some business to do. All right. 32 days.
Oh, my goodness.
And we know we will do it.
Oh, mama.
And this is going to be a very tight race until the very end. This is going to be a very tight race until the very end. We are the underdog, and we know we have some hard work ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I mean, it's an unprecedented situation, Steve, because she hasn't been through all those primaries and all those.
She hasn't done any tough interviews. She hasn't had anything.
Battling the media.
Poorly trained, Johnny. Poorly prepared.
She's been handed it on a silver platter. It's we've had that when a vice president takes over as president. It happens because of the that's what they get the job for, to back the president up, and they're selected, Steve, sometimes out of the blue. They haven't been on the campaign trail, so she's kind of in that context. But even through her career in California, once you get picked as the nominee, you're going to win. And so she really hasn't been a battle-tested political stumper. And, it's hurting her, but they're playing it to where we can get away with it. But I said this is interesting because I think I might have been right about something when she was, after the first week, I said, things are going good now, but I thought they didn't have enough time. I think they've got too much time.
Yeah, right. That's right. No, that's right. Finally,
what she gets out there like that, it's hurting her.
She was on Howard Stern, and he said, you have a bunch of people telling you what to do. Is that why you picked Tim Walz? And she said, no, that was all my call. That was all my call. And you're going, oh. Wow.
Well, yeah. So that just her media blitz with Howard and Colbert, and then this was it. Love Your Daddy or something?
Yeah, some weird podcast. And then she did The View, and then they said, well, what would you have done differently than Joe Biden? Can't think of a thing.
Same thing.
Can't think of a thing.
No,
well, all right. Well, we'll see. Illinois, Purdue tomorrow, Johnny. We're 21-point favorites against the Boilermakers.
You got to be kidding.
No.
Come on, guys. Focus. Focus.
Yep. And so we have beaten Purdue two times in Champaign in this century. So they kind of have our number.
Kidding.
So we'll see. They've beaten us 7 of the last 8 times. So we're due to go in and dominate. I think we're going to be able to run the football. I think we can win this thing. Purdue lost last week 52-6. Earlier in the year, they lost to Notre Dame 66-7. We can beat Purdue. We have to beat Purdue tomorrow.
What's kickoff time, Stevie?
2:30.
All right, that's good tailgating time.
And
Good job.
then if we get through this game, there'll be a ton of excitement for Michigan next week. So, but it's only tomorrow's game is only. I'm really got 21 points. Really? Dang.
I'm thinking of slipping in for the Michigan game, Stevie.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
It's sold out, so
we're going to have
I'll
connections to get
take
you.
note.
Of course, Johnny doesn't generally go to these things. He's been to World Series, Super Bowls. He's been to all of it. So I don't know if
Yeah,
he's...
but I got my letter. I'm going to show him my letter.
True.
Okay, then.
1976 letter from the University of Illinois football team, Brother Johnny. That's him. All right. Well, we'll call you next week, Johnny. Thanks for your time.
Thanks. Stay
Appreciate
tuned.
it.
Thanks, Dan.
Talk to you. Have a great weekend. Brother Johnny in New Orleans this morning, ESPN 93.5. We will be right back. It's 8 o'clock. You're listening to WSJK, ESPN 93.5, Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Most Floridians who were in shelters for the storm are back home surveying Milton's damage. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
13,000 were sheltered overnight, so that means that roughly 85,000 people are already heading back to their homes.
Florida Emergency Management Director Kevin Guthrie. Milton blamed for at least 17 deaths, and there are still nearly 2.5 million power outages.
A real challenge continues to be gasoline. Of the state's 8,000 gas stations, 2,000 are without fuel.
Fox's Steve Harrigan out surveying damage in Tampa this morning.
Really, it's one square after another, pretty neat piles of debris all the way down this road. Some of this is from Hurricane Helene 2 weeks ago. Some of it is from Hurricane Milton, and they are waiting for it to be picked up.
Flooding's also been an issue. About 1,000 people have been rescued. Some at a Tampa Senior Center underwater.
It's very scary. It was very cold.
Vice President Harris said while campaigning in Arizona and Nevada.
I cannot stress enough the work that we have been doing around the clock to make sure that the federal resources are on the ground in partnership with state and local leaders.
Former President Trump says the federal response to Hurricane Helene 2 weeks ago, especially in flood-ravaged North Carolina, is the worst ever. He'll campaign in Colorado and Nevada today after going to Detroit, warning about Chinese cars built in Mexico.
They think that they're going to sell all of these cars into the United States, which would destroy Michigan, totally destroy your state. But it's not going to happen.
Former President Obama held an anti-Trump rally in Pennsylvania, but earlier at a Democratic campaign office in Pittsburgh, Obama appeared concerned about Harris's support, especially among black men.
We have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running.
We just got another inflation update. At the wholesale level this time, they did not increase last month from August, and like consumer prices, the annual rate of producer price inflation declined slightly to 1.8%. America's listening to Fox News.
During Cybersecurity Awareness Month, LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity. Using multi-factor authentication can be a line of defense to help protect your personal information. But LifeLock offers comprehensive protection against identity theft. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information, but also fixes issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use my name, Clay, as the promo code. Terms apply.
Sweet chocolate reward. Sweet chocolate reward.
This is not just the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat at Walgreens. This is the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat right after receiving all their vaccines in one trip. This is the sound of treating yourself, because you protected yourself.
Stop by or schedule both your flu and COVID-19 vaccines today and grab yourself a sweet treat while you're at it. Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Israel and Hezbollah keep waging war in and around Lebanon. The UN says its peacekeeping force had explosions at its headquarters. 2 more personnel injured in Beirut. Another Israeli strike killed at least 22 people as Hezbollah keeps firing across the border. A farmer was killed in northern Israel. Israel's also still battling Hamas in Gaza, both groups backed by Iran, and Russia's leader is there today.
We're told Russian President Vladimir Putin and his Iranian counterpart Masoud Pezeshkian will be talking about the situation in the Middle East. This is their first meeting since Pezeshkian was elected earlier this year. Russia has close relations with Iran. Western governments accused Tehran of supplying Moscow with drones and missiles for use in Ukraine. Russia has regularly criticized Israel's operations against Iran's proxies in Gaza and Lebanon. The meeting's taking place in Turkmenistan during an event to celebrate an 18th century poet. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
The Nobel Peace Prize was awarded this morning to a nuclear advocacy group in Japan made up of survivors of the U.S. atomic bombings that ended World War II.
About 114,000 survivors of the bombings are still alive. The Nobel Committee's chair said the award was made as the, quote, taboo against the use of nuclear weapons is under pressure. Efforts to eradicate nuclear weapons have been honored by the committee in the past in 1995 and 2017.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. On Wall Street, stock futures mix not moving much before the opening bell. In the baseball playoffs, the Yankees advance.
Line drive to right. That's going to drop for a base hit. Torres comes through.
Juan Soto gave New York the lead in the first inning, and they kept it, beating the Royals in Kansas City 3-1 on TBS. The Yankees don't know, though, who they'll play next in the American League Championship Series. Cleveland beat Detroit 5-4 to force a Game 5 finale in that series. On Thursday Night Football, San Francisco beat Seattle 36-24. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Here's a look at local news. State education leaders flagging a recent survey showing more teachers considering leaving their jobs in classrooms. Illinois Education Association released the results to a membership poll Wednesday. From surveying 500 active members of the association in June, 59% of teachers considered leaving the industry. Well, jury selection continues in the racketeering trial of former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. 3 jurors were chosen yesterday, including 2 men and 1 woman. Madigan and longtime confidant Michael McLean face charges accusing them of conspiring to participate in an array of bribery and extortion schemes. Regulatory judges and the Citizens Utility Board fighting for a lower rate hike for Illinois Aqua as the water company tries to raise its rates. Aqua serves about 273,000 customers in central and northern Illinois, and in January they filed a rate hike request with the Illinois Commerce Commission. The proposed hike would have created an increase of $30 a month. Get locally up to date from the Stevie Jay Broadcasting Newsroom. I'm Jim Miller.
All right, thank you, Jim Miller, ESPN 93.5. Are we with Greg Solier?
Yes, we are. Yes. You're coming through loud and clear.
You are,
how am I coming through?
Yeah,
Fine?
loud and clear. Okay, I'm going to do another on-air meeting with you right now.
Okay.
I can't get a commitment for the Soliers to come down and eat barbecue. Come on, man.
Yep.
What's up?
Yeah, all right. We'll do it this weekend. The boys, I believe, are stopping by this weekend. Maybe maybe just to stay and eat. So yeah.
No, I get it.
We'll check with them.
Pass through. But if you get a chance, we're going to have a fun day. And I got my guy Tim Onstop, the best brisket maker ever.
Yeah.
He's
is that the gentleman whose we partook on his food?
We crashed that one, and I think we can crash the new one. I'm not sure. I can't confirm that publicly.
Pretty advanced, so
he's up there now with the big tall trees. Anyway, it's our meteorologist Greg Solier. We got through Milton. I guess it could have been worse. As bad as it looks and as bad as it is, it could have been worse, I guess is the message.
Yeah, I mean, it did come through as a Cat 3, 120-mile-an-hour winds down around the St. Petersburg area. Also, 18 inches of rain was the biggest rainfall total we had seen, at least from an observation standpoint. Some higher numbers, close to 20 in some of the Doppler estimates. Well, Milton is out to sea and drifting aimlessly out there. We'll keep an eye on the tropics here, probably about 7 to 10 days out, either Padre Island, southwestern and western Gulf. That seems to be the area this year. It's not typically the case. It's much earlier in the tropical season where things come out of the Gulf. This year, different story. So the southwestern Gulf, Bay of Campeche, maybe the southern Caribbean, that area needs to be watched over the next 7 to 10 days. Ups and downs in temperature around here, nothing all that unusual. If you're looking for more rain, by the way, and we're ahead of the game at harvest, looks like towards the end part of the month. Last week to 10 days, a showery weather pattern, but still mild, evolving from the plains into the Corn Belt locales here in east central Illinois. But lots of opportunity to get things wrapped up as best you can here in the coming 10 days to 2 weeks. Temperatures coming up, and matter of fact, summer-like at about 82 this afternoon. Sunshine and a bit of a south-southwesterly breeze. Mild tonight in the 50s. Kickoff tomorrow, maybe a sprinkle before the tailgate, maybe a sprinkle as you wind up the tailgate, and in between 83, 84 degrees tomorrow afternoon. That's warm. South breeze, but then we cool 70 or so, 72 on Sunday. We're in the upper 50s Monday, mid-50s Tuesday, Wednesday, then back to the 60s Thursday, 70s next Friday. Nothing more than a few sprinkles in the transition till a few days before Halloween. For Stevie Jay Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solier.
All right, ESPN 93.5. Thank you, Mr. Meteorologist Greg Solier. It is 8:09. Love talking to the smart people at OSF at 1400 West Park in Urbana. Dr. Zishan Ahmad. Nice to have you back, Dr. Ashan. Nice to see you, man.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Diane.
It's great to have Dr. Ahmad here. He's a board certified. You're a spine guy where if I have back pain or spine problems, they come see you.
That is correct. So my specialty is physical medicine rehab, in which I'm board certified and then fellowship trained in spine and sports medicine. So basically, I do non-surgical treatments for neck and back pain.
So how does a guy get into that specific?
Right.
Why that?
Well, there are a couple of things that happen in our life. One is degenerative changes in our back and discs that develop with time. And when they develop, the discs lose their capacity to withstand pressures. And so sometimes with the things that we do, they're not able to withstand those pressures and they bulge out. Sometimes if they bulge out and they bulge out close to the nerve, it can cause back pain or leg pain.
It hurts a lot.
It does. And sometimes the patients are not sure where to go. So they are thinking whether they should go to the surgeon or whether they should go to primary care doctor. So we are some of the people who do evaluation to see if the people would need surgery right away, or we can do non-surgical treatments. So I specialize in non-surgical treatments.
That's what people want. They don't really want to have surgery if they don't have to, right? And we don't want to rush to surgery.
That is exactly right. And the research also shows that 90% of the people, they go to chiropractors, physical therapists, primary care doctors, or they do their own things, to get better, because most of the back pain is self, it does get better by its own too.
So what can we do non-surgically? What do you do? What are injections? All of that.
Yes. So when a patient comes to me, basically I do an examination to see what is the severity of the problem. And if their back pain is associated with some leg pain, or if I find any nerve issues going on, then it becomes a serious issue. In that case, I would need some x-rays, some MRIs to kind of figure out if they have a pinched nerve. And then we'll start them on some kind of physical therapy, anti-inflammatory medicines. And if they don't get better, then do some injections.